Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. So, how ironic is this? So, the Pennsylvania Senate race has been getting so much attention. As you know, David McCormick ended up flipping the Senate seat. However, the incumbent senator, Bob Casey, who has been a political juggernaut and has been undefeated in so far his whole political career. We can always go over that political career, but then again, we got to understand who Bob Casey is first. But yeah, he's refusing to concede because in his mind, this race is too close to call. Now, this race is over. I can tell you this. It's over. The AP has even called this. So, U.S. Senate election, Pennsylvania, face it, this race is over. You'll see it. Going into the said Senate races, pulling up the AP here. Yes, this race has been called for David McCormick. He wins, but however, you'll see it's very, very, very tight. David McCormick won by 48.9. Bob Casey lost by 48.6. Bob Casey did very well, period. And I think Bob Casey, being a political juggernaut, and if he was really a political juggernaut, like in this huge hero like he says he is, he would take that 48.6 and walk home defeated. Guess what? There have been so many political juggernauts and political stars that remain political stars despite being defeated. There are so many. And unfortunately, Bob Casey was called to be that one. But Bob Casey doesn't want to. He wants that 6 more years in the Senate. But I'm going to tell you, David McCormick won. How did David McCormick win? Well, let's take a look at Pennsylvania. Now, to clarify, this does not count for our down ballot analysis for Pennsylvania. We will be taking a look at Pennsylvania races separately. And by that time, I would believe that Bob Casey will lower his head more, or he's just going to kick the walls and further denial. Who knows? But we can tell you right now, that whole drama is going to go away quickly when we talk about Pennsylvania. Then we'll know for sure. We know David McCormick will be in the Senate. It's confirmed, period. And a lot of people will say, oh, what about the Minnesota gubernatorial race? 2010, no, not the gubernatorial race, the Senate race in Minnesota, where that's at SNL, Saturday Night Live guy, the Saturday Night Live guy who happened to be Al Franken from Minnesota. Yes, Al Franken. He's not even a politician. He is this SNL star, and that's what really, really brought him into the forefront of politics. His campaign was energetic because everyone knew Al Franken from SNL, and to be honest with you, despite that does not qualify him to be a U.S. senator. So really, if I would have to put betting money into this, I would say Norm Coleman would win. But a lot of people say still Norm Coleman did win the election because what the Minnesota GOP just let happen was they just totally let Al Franken bully his way to win the election. Yes, that's right. Al Franken was an election denier because originally Norm Coleman won this election. And what ended up happening was Franken's like, no, look, there's 100 ballots. And here's the thing, guys. Here's the deal. The problem with that, though, is that these 100 ballots weren't, they're disputable. Are they legitimate? Well, the Minnesota GOP didn't care anyway, and the DFL said, oh, look at here, 100 ballots, let's count them in, and there you go. It says, for some reason, Al Franken got around, so it says here, going over this said election, when the initial count was completed on November 18th, Franken was trailing Coleman by 250 votes. You see what I mean? The close margin triggered a mandatory recount initiated by the Franken campaign. After reviewing ballots that had been challenged during the recount and counting 953 wrongly rejected absentee ballots, quote, the state canvassing board officially certified the recount results was with Franken holding a 225 vote lead. So there you go. Very close election. And you could say Dean Barkley was taking away votes from Republican Norm Coleman. So you could either blame the GOP for being too weak, or you could blame Dean Barkley for just taking away votes from Coleman. But out of the result originally had Coleman ahead by 215 votes. And the fact that Franken had to go, oh, let's recount. I mean, you have a right to say recount. But here's the deal, guys. Democrats go after us all the time. All the time for denying election results. We denied, there was one election where we said, hey, we are not so sure about this election, and that was 2020. I was a part of the Stop the Steal movement. I admit that. There were some mistakes I made. I thought Trump would win the election, but I realize now, even if those votes were counted, there is something I know about the 2020 election that my views haven't changed. I know there were votes that haven't been counted, and that the machines should have been better. The election should have been better run, period. The whole dead people voting thing shouldn't have existed. And that's what I agree. But even if all those votes counted, I think Joe Biden would have still had won. Because of those numbers going into this whole election wasn't good for Trump. And he had overperformed. But the idea was that he was going to lose. Same deal how, Kari Lake ended up losing, but she overperformed. She still ended up losing this year, right? So that's the other thing. Kari Lake also denied the election results of 2022. They'll always remind us that. But then again, Kari Lake was just voicing election integrity. Because then again, there was a reason for that. The Maricopa County ballot machines were malfunctioning for the second time in a row. And Kari Lake demanded answers. And she filed a lawsuit because of that, because that was unconstitutional. Bob Casey has zero evidence or any sort of flaw that occurred in this election, and he's just kicking and screaming because he lost, because he's upset that his winning streak is over. Okay? But anyway, to further prove that this election is for Republicans, you'll see going into the 2024 elections in Pennsylvania, not only Republicans didn't just win Pennsylvania state, we'll be talking about that election in a little bit, but yes, we won Pennsylvania state. We also won the Attorney General. We flipped and took out Eugene De Pasquale, who was the incumbent Attorney General. Dave Sunday ended up kicking... Actually, no, he wasn't the incumbent. Shoot. Eugene Pasquale was, of course, of an experienced office. Dave Sunday, I would say this was a close race overall. But, yeah, Dave Sunday was supposed to lose. Look at these numbers. He only won one poll, and Dave Sunday trounced Eugene De Pasquale, and that's thanks to Republicans going out en masse and voting for Sunday, and he ended up winning. So we kicked out an experienced, I believe, Eugene, he was the Auditor General. So, yeah, he was experienced. And Dave Sunday, he's the Attorney General-elect, but, he was a district attorney of York County, so York County only knows this guy. I would have totally thought that De Pasquale would win, which was a surprise. And a surprise to many. There's also Stacey Garrity winning re-election by a lot. Like, look at this. She even carried Lehigh County. She carried Monroe County. Keep in mind, Trump didn't win Lehigh County. Dave Sunday couldn't win Dauphin County. You'll see. Stacey Garrity won her seat. Auditors General Timothy DeFleur. Timothy DeFleur defeated Malcolm Kenyatta. Same results as, I want to believe, 2020. Yeah, same results. But I believe those votes are still being counted. But Timothy DeFleur already obviously won. But you see, Republicans won in every race in 2024 in Pennsylvania. Heck, they won 2 seats in Pennsylvania also. They flipped 2 seats. So, give it up! And Bob Casey says, oh, but I'm an experienced juggernaut. Well, Bob Casey isn't wrong. Bob Casey Jr. is not wrong about that. Bob Casey Jr. electoral history. I know Bob Casey Jr. is not dead, so we're not doing an honorary electoral history review. And I don't want to, but then again, kind of understand how big and a surprise it was to take out Bob Casey. Taking a look at the auditor's results. No, we don't have page on that. You'll see 2000 Pennsylvania Auditor General election. Bob Casey won 56%. Landslide. Years prior, that was 2000. He won re-election. Same, but it did 0.7% better than his previous election in 1996, where he was elected to the auditor's office by 56%. So this guy's already winning landslides. The Pennsylvania gubernatorial race, this is his first defeat. He was defeated by Ed Rendell. Then he goes, oh, well, and he goes, oh, it's fine, I'll run for state auditor, state treasurer. And of course, this is his best performance, 61%. This is a Casey landslide here. Then we go and to the United States Senate, and this is when he starts his Senate career. He defeats the juggernaut Rick Santorum. He was pretty popular. He held on, well, I would say he got 52%, but he was defeated in 2006, and he went home just fine. 2012, same deal. You'll see Bob Casey is losing strength. He regained strength in 2018, and of course he was defeated. And here's the thing. Wikipedia hasn't even called it, which is frustrating because AP just called it. And I think it's inevitable. Bob Casey lost. Period. He cannot win. Bob Casey is also a grifter. This guy ran as a pro-life Democrat. He ran on Catholic values. He went to Catholic school. He campaigned on his Reverend Catholic, and everyone believed him because his father, Bob Casey Sr., boy, guys, Bob Casey Sr. is my favorite governor. Despite being a Democrat, I mean, this guy went head-to-head with Planned Parenthood. It's called Planned Parenthood v. Casey. I would say this is my favorite Supreme Court case, too. The thing was, this guy is a Dino Democrat. D-I-N-O. Democrat in name only. He is a right-wing Democrat. And he raised Bob Casey Jr. as a right-wing Democrat. He ran as a right-wing Democrat, but decided to jump ship and joined and eat his cake with the leftist Democrats. And ever since then, he's been pro-choice, pro-abortion, which is stupid. He ran on a pro-life platform for Senate, and he jumped off. But everyone liked Bob Casey, despite the pro-abortion views. He has been deemed a moderate. You'll see he was Auditor General in 1968 and 1972. This guy was a political juggernaut. Despite almost losing in the gubernatorial race, he won in a landslide against the liberal Democrat Barbara Hafer. The GOP had no choice because, literally, you can't just send another conservative to run against another conservative. They decided to nominate a liberal to take more liberal votes. That didn't really go well. Barbara Hafer is a pro-choice Republican who eventually joined the Democratic Party in 2003. She is the 73rd treasurer of the said state of Pennsylvania, actually future 73rd Attorney General of the state of Pennsylvania, but whatever. You'll see this is what we're looking at here. She only won Montgomery County, huge county of Republican presence, but you'll see rural areas. Of course, 60% former Republican, strong Republican areas today voted for Casey, 60%. This is not too long ago, 1990. But you get what I'm saying. This is the profile of Bob Casey, and he's mad. And I get Bob Casey Sr. was never defeated. That's because he ran on his values. He didn't jump ship and decide to eat cake with the liberals. The liberal Democrats hated him. But actually, no, Bob Casey got along with Republicans and Democrats. But this guy, Bob Casey Sr., they liked him. I like Bob Casey. He was a governor who really united the people. But this guy is a grifter. He thinks he's following in his father's footsteps. Sir, you were pro-life as auditor. You were pro-life as treasurer. And why, can you explain to me how you got all those Republican counties? You ran on a conservative platform in 2004. How did you get all these blue counties? 61% against Jean Craig Pepper. Got 36%. You got a lot of conservative votes. And then you go and tell, I'm running as a pro-life candidate in 2006. Of course, he wins because he was taking conservative Catholic votes. He ran as a Catholic. Keep in mind, Pennsylvania has a lot of Catholics, so that's obviously the Catholic votes go into Casey. But then all of a sudden, he jumps ship. He says, actually, I think I believe in abortion rights. Something that his father would be so ashamed of, by the way. And ever since that, you'll see Bob Casey's not doing so well. 53%. Not all those blue counties are suddenly gone. Like, Amy Klobuchar didn't lose all those red counties that quickly. Like, seriously. 2018, more red counties turned Republican, but thanks to Philadelphia and the pro-choice vote coming out in full swing and just Donald Trump, people motivated over the Trump administration, the Democrats to be exact, Casey won and overperformed. But then 2024, the Catholics voted for Donald Trump, and they just voted for against Casey because Casey's not a Catholic. He's a cafeteria Catholic, a Catholic that basically goes down the list and says, I'll take the Eucharist, I'll take communion, I'll take the rosary, but I'm going to ditch abortion. Views on abortion. I'm going to ditch gay marriage. I'm going to ditch transgender. The church's views on transgender. I think that's stupid. Blah, blah, blah. No. That's just stupid. And I agree. Bob Casey doesn't deserve the Senate seat. He was a grifter. He grifted not just Catholics. He grifted the whole entire state of Pennsylvania. People should have known that, you know what, this guy's a grifter, and it's sad. Hopefully, and I have a feeling if Casey ends up and I have a feeling also the reason why Casey lost. Do you think the pro-Palestine vote's going to back Casey? Casey has made himself clear he's pro-Israel. And he has had a very strong pro-Israel belief, and I think that's great. But yeah, you really put two and two together. Come on, that pro-Palestine base used to back you, Mr. Casey. Now they don't. And that pro-Palestine base, a lot of them come from Philly. Let's see. 2018. Yeah, you carried Philly much more in the 80% range. But in 2024, you got into the 70% range. That's not good. That's not good. That's not how you win Philadelphia. And that itself gave, obviously, David McCormick the election. If the same amount of Democrats came out and got Philadelphia up to 80%, Bob Casey would still be in the Senate. But he's not. And he's probably boo-hoo whining and crying because of that. And he's coming and bringing up ballots and saying, hey, look, I got ballots. Guess what? And he's just doing illegal things right now. He is saying, look, and these ballots have been struck out, and they're forcing them to register him in. No. Bob Casey's mad he lost. And he does not want, and he's feeling like, he might feel like he's letting his father down, but he did let his father down a long time ago when he ate cake with the Democrats. The pro-abortion Democrats. So don't even bother telling me that Bob Casey Sr. is now disappointed because Bob Casey Jr. lost. No, you know what? Bob Casey Sr. is infuriated with his own son because he's not being humble like he was. He is not conceding the election. And he's been infuriated a long time ago. This is not who he raised. Bob Casey Sr. is a great man. And I can tell you, a great man wouldn't raise a son like this. Good men go down graciously, but Bob Casey Jr. is just too great and too good to admit he lost. And in order to remain a part of the deep state and be a part of the swamp, he threatens lawsuits. And guess what? The RNC's now threatened him with lawsuits. This guy is tyrannical. And the fact that if we're going to go after Donald Trump for denying the election, guess what? I mean, just expect Republicans to go after you, Mr. Casey. They found a way to indict Trump about trying to overturn the election because you're canceling democracy. Well, guess what? Bob Casey's doing the same thing, too. Do you think Bob Casey should be prosecuted? Well, I don't like prosecuting my political opponents. But here's the thing. If Democrats think trying to overturn the election results is a crime, then okay, then we should prosecute those. Everyone that has tried to overturn election results, including Bob Casey and Stacey Abrams of Georgia. But being completely honest, but they're going to say no. No! Because you don't, as long as you're a Democrat, you can do whatever you want with the results. You can challenge the results as a Democrat. Bob Gore did it. John Kerry did it. Hillary Clinton did it. Not one indictment, not one case. Stacey Abrams didn't want to recognize the Georgia 2018 results. Not one case. And now we have Bob Casey Jr. Give it to Stacey Abrams on this one. Her case was really bad. She lost by a lot. This was not a close race at all. And this is just this, once again, female feminist entitlement from Stacey Abrams. It's just ridiculous. Oh, you're just doing this because I'm a woman! Well, here's the deal. Yeah, look. Yeah, sure, it was a close race. Sure. Admit it. But not this close compared to where we got a 48-48 split. Hey, guess what? Al Franken denied the election results. He's he got his way. He's probably the only election denier that got his way. Because the Minnesota GOP is just too weak. Weak. But yeah, Stacey Abrams saying, oh, and then she got everyone. She's a charmer. She charmed everyone to her side. And even Jimmy Carter believed Stacey Abrams. Carter took to Twitter and denounced the Kemp campaign for election fraud. Look, this is ridiculous. As long if Democrats are losing and if it's possible that Democrats can overturn the results, they'll do it. And if you criticize them for that, and if you hold them accountable for it, they will accuse you of trying to prosecute your political opponent. That's how it goes. So Republicans, I don't care. Republicans should hold Democrats accountable as Democrats had held Republicans accountable over the years. Do it! And if they cry victimhood and oppression, then let them cry victimhood and oppression. It's nothing new. Nothing new at all. So, let's give it to, of course, Stacey Abrams made herself look even dumber because she even lost bigger in 2022. I'm hearing that she's thinking about running again in 2026. Can we get a break from this pathetic woman? Can we get a break from her? This is year number, I don't know. Is this the 12th year of this lady? Can we get a break of her? Like, Georgia Democrats. You guys can go with Jason Carter. He's more realistic. He's also the grandson of former governor and President Jimmy Carter. He was also nominee in 2014. He has a better chance of winning, in my opinion, than Stacey Abrams. But anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know down below. Do you think this race is going to change? I don't think it's going to change. I think this is the result. This is our map. Northampton County predicts the elections. And seeing that, as you know, David McCormick won this county. It's probably, it's a theory. It's a myth. But I think overall it doesn't matter if we win or lose it. There's a chance if we lose Northampton County, it usually goes when you got 13 counties, that blue wall in Pennsylvania, the 13 counties in Pennsylvania voting for Dems, it's usually a defeat for Republicans. But seeing that Northampton's in the collusion for Republicans, I doubt that it's going to be a defeat. But what do you guys think? I think is a 90% chance that it's over. So what do you guys think? Let me know down below. And as always, I'll see you all in the next political episode.